And we at the foundation are trying every which way to keep, we have a thing on the newsletter, you know, keeping the war on the front page. Because most people don't even remember or know that there's a war going on, or even some people say when you go to cave, it's not like people there are aware of the war. So we want to have stories and things to keep promoting this. And I think she already suggested, or at least that, is it October 12th is Remembrance Day? Or 14. Yeah, 14, okay. 12, okay, so I put 7. So I think the idea of maybe doing a webinar with you all to talk about, you know, and so we could think about a series of, you know, books are one thing. There's a certain, you know, constituent people who like reading, but really to use, as you know, social media and videos. So we have a combination, and so if we could partner with you, because I understand she said you have a library of videos and things, so that we could do this. You know, there have been some very popular films that have come from Ukraine about the war, right? I just get Forgotten Battalion, about the women, and so it's, you know, and we've had them premiered at, like, in Congress. Of course, now everything that is so challenging, but there are all of these vehicles that we could use to keep that. When I talk about also the sort of societal attitudes, you know, in this country, you know, we have different campaigns at different times to kind of get people to be conscious. Now, several years ago, there was this campaign started about getting people to say, anytime they saw somebody in uniform, thank you for your service.
Such program is in Ukraine.
Now, my point about that's awkward. We're not used to, you know, you're at an airport, you see a soldier. It's not a natural thing to just come up and say, thank you for your service. But this constant, you know, repetition of this is something to do, it kind of, you know, gets you want to thank them, you know, but it's just that awkwardness. So that's what I mean about, you say you have that in Ukraine. So those kind of programs are important because you have to educate, right, people and all that. So, well, that's good to hear. But
I just know way too many military and veterans who do not like the thank you because they see it as I've done my thing. I said thank you, so I'm good. I don't have to do anything else. So I think we also have to look at
of course.
We also have to
There's
look
always
at the longer term.
Of course. The point is again just the raising of the consciousness and being aware, right? It's not panacea.
But there has to be. I mean, I had difficulties in the Obama administration because his approach to the veterans in the military was to just say thanks and we'll have a party for you. And it was a way of assuaging their own guilt, you know, but it wasn't followed up by any substantive program. So I'm a big fan, it's a Chicago thing of show me the stuff, show me what's out there, you know? And that, I wanna hear more than just the words. I wanna see the physical piece that you're gonna do. So that's all I'll say on that, and that's why I think we need to go further, but yeah, this is very interesting, thank you. I've taken a lot of notes and have some ideas.
That's a very important issue. I think that propaganda is very important because many people in the world, most people in the US don't know about the war in Ukraine. I think we should somehow to inform about this conflict that...
Not a conflict, it's a war.
I wanted to say, yeah.
I want to tell you, because when I speak, and words are important.
Yeah.
And I say, you know, I can have a conflict with my husband, but I don't shoot him. Right? So, you know.
Actually, I meant that in the media, it's represented as an initial conflict, but it's real war, and we should talk about it and inform other people about it. And I think everybody in the world should know about the history of this war, why it was started, with whom it was started. who started the war, and
Was
so
it the
on.
little green man,
and,
right?
And the books and other social media is a very important weapon in this
Yeah,
war
and it's,
too.
yeah, it is extremely important. Unfortunately, in the information warfare game, Russia's beating Ukraine. So they have investments in U.S. media. They have whole organizations here that perpetuate a Russian line, and unfortunately, and they have more money, and so they get that word out. So that it reminded me of sitting after 2008 when Russia went into Georgia, and we're sitting in Batumi, a base where I had spent a lot of time, and someone actually looked at me and said, you know, Georgia invaded Russia, and I said, are you crazy? You know, what kind of drugs are you taking? And there were a lot of people, well educated, in that room who believed that Georgia invaded. And I said to them, Georgia, I said, look, even if you were trying to make sense, their two best brigades are sitting in Iraq. I don't think they'd go to war with Russia with their two best brigades sitting in Iraq, you know? And it was, so that's what you're up against. You're up against this huge public relations machine that is very well paid for, where you have that idiot who plays for the Washington Capitals, Alex Ovechkin, who puts up a sign on his the team made him take it down. But this is a very popular hockey player here, right? And he puts up things saying Ukraine is filled with racists, which is why Russia had to invade. Now, the team made him take it down because some of the fans objected, you know? But that's what they have. And so it's difficult to
I want
get
to
at that.
edit Deborah on one word.
Yes.
It's not a problem you have, it's a problem we have. And I probably once a week at least send out from the foundation, I'll take articles that are in the paper that have little lines that buy into the Russian narrative and parenthetically rebut that. That only goes out to our 6,100 people on our foundation emailing list.
And there are people who agree generally with you, so.
Yes, but then I find that they turn around and they send it out more places and so forth. But it's a constant battle. I mean, I'm engaged with Reuters news agency. They have yet to write anything saying that the Russians are in Donbass. It's separatists.
Reuters?
Always, it's separatists.
AP uses the same language. They call it separatists. They don't want to say that there's Russians physically on the ground. They just
Who
dress
else
it.
wants to?
Yeah.
Yes?
Maybe some
I should add about Russian propaganda. If we could beat Russia on this field, we should find any possibilities, any other ways to how to highlight Russia as aggressor. We have a war and show it on any possible way, except TV or media. So I think it's important to have many different programs with veterans, help veterans, and other ways to show this is the real results of war, and we have real war with Russia.
Well, that's why your visit
Yeah.
is extremely important, you know, because again, you know, coming face to face, right, with you is very, very powerful. Would you like to?
Yeah, my name is Andrei. I am former from SOF. Special operations. I can add to some information. General, the veterans are special people, and doesn't matter which flag patch you wear. In my opinion, the best way in our cooperation is to build this cooperation, because the social Ukrainian, I know that American social understand who are veterans. Ukrainian social didn't understand who is veterans. It's a very big problem for us.
That's our initial problem.
Yeah. I know that every day in Ukraine, 1 or 2 veterans die. Suicide.
Suicide.
Yeah. This information is covered by country, but is the truth. That's why I think the best way we need to organize this communication, to speak with veterans from other countries, to make activities for veterans, because in speaking and spending together time, we created something new.
Yeah, no,
And maybe
So let me
to
ask
educate
you-
our psychologists.
Yeah, so let me ask you about the special forces. Several years ago, I forget how many, somebody who was in special forces in Ukraine said that there was a need for additional training for soldiers who are captured, particularly those in special forces. Because here, people who are in those services, they get extensive training, right? What to do if they get captured, and how to survive that. How is that still an issue, or is there something in other words, do you get training about how how to survive being captured?
We don't have any training.
No. You don't have.
That's why he's special forces.
National Guard.
okay. I see that.
I have experience with education with American soldiers from SVG, Special Forces.
You worked with Bragg, didn't you? I mean, I know Ukrainians worked with, when a friend of mine was the head of Army Special Ops at Bragg, he had Ukrainians there for training, so.
Bragg.
Maybe. No,
Yeah, anyway.
I know that we speak this topic also. Прошлый, ну, выучили.
Just learn.
So you learn. So you got the training.
And in the critical moment in the education is American soldiers that they teach us and we teach them, because circulation information how we need to do when we captured. In my experience, I have this experience what need to do, because
You were captured?
It crazy time, yeah. It was in Ukraine.
How long were you?
2 days. 2 days.
Well, a lot can happen in 2 days.
Yeah. In my happy, I'm here.
Yeah. So, talking about two-way training, you should know that our military generals like Breedlove and Hodges and others, Phil Carver, constantly talk about how our military is learning from your military in terms of the war that's going on, because Ukraine is fighting. So there's a benefit. It's not just a one-way street. So this is being acknowledged very definitely, and it's something that we kind of also say, look, it's we're giving Ukraine assistance, but Ukraine is giving us also assistance in training for our military of how to fight this kind of a war. So you should just know that is appreciated.
So we've talked about this. This is classic irregular warfare, and so it's that kind of feedback's excellent. But I want to get back to something you mentioned, which is very serious, which is the suicide rates. There was a report this morning that the suicide rates among U.S. military veterans has risen a great deal since the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Which was really a depressing thing to hear, and they just came out with that. So I think we still have to do an enormous amount of work here, but I think there's no reason why this can't be done together.
Our numbers are very high. I can't
Right.
remember what they are.
Well, they went up again after the withdrawal from Afghanistan, when people on Capitol Hill say it doesn't matter. It's like
I know this subject very well because I visited the call center next to Rochester once, a national call center for prevention of suicide among US veterans. So I remember the numbers they presented, around 20 per day.
Right, and that goes to the heart of how you present the worthwhileness of service in your own country. And I think with all the hearings and everything that's been going on here, we haven't done a good job of that here. And I think that feeds into it. When you have a 4-star or a Secretary of Defense going on the Hill or saying, oh yes, this was doomed to failure, what does that say to the people who spent 5 rotations in Afghanistan, you know? So I get that, and I think this is something that also to look at, because there's something to be said for how your leaders perceive your warriors in public and how that message is conveyed. So I just made a note of that as well.
So,
Anybody else?
please.
Якщо з допомогою пана Гаврилова з
Okay.
перекладом.
I will
Я-
assist with translation.
Насамперед,
First of all,
насамперед Україні потрібно навчитися бути економічно потужними, сильними і незалежними.
First of all, here Ukraine should become more economically advanced and self-sufficient and secure.
Адже у всьому світі поважають дуже сильних гравців і з ними постійно стараються дружити, товаришувати і ні в якому разі не ворогувати.
All the strong players are respected in the world, and nobody would like to fight them.
І з моменту, коли Україна ставала незалежною, підписувався Будапештський меморандум, де ряд топових країн, дуже сильних гравців світу, зобов'язувалися надавати безпекові гарантії Україні.
And we remember this Budapest memorandum where some countries are obliged to support Ukraine in case of
Тому ми надіємося, як з боку уряду США, населення даної великої потужної країни, що вона буде старатися сприяти нашій країні у допомозі в будь-якому секторі, в економічній, технологічній, військовій співпраці. І тому що Росія веде весь час хаотичну, агресивну поведінку і дестабілізує ситуацію і приносить тільки одні нещастя, горе своїм сусідам, найближчому оточенню.
Це вже пішов політичну промову.